Hi, I'm Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, and welcome to the 2021 Women's March in Seneca Falls. My appreciation to my friends Melina and Susan, our lead organizers for this fabulous event. I'm also delighted to be joined by a true champion for women and families, our own Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. We've joined forces on many causes, and New York is so proud and so fortunate to have her fighting for us in Washington. And while upstate New York is always a lovely place to visit in January when we march down the streets packed closely together, mostly to stay warm, sadly this year's in-person event is yet another COVID casualty. But we adapt and we persevere. And this time, we not only march virtually in our offices and in our homes, we're also gathering to celebrate the 100th day of the Biden-Harris administration. Yes, big smiles and applause for that. I don't need to tell you that the past 4 years were a nightmare for women, for minorities, for immigrants, for the LGBTQ and other marginalized communities, and anyone else who actually believes in compassionate government and progress and basic human decency. The previous administration did their very best to dismantle and set back women's rights, starting with stacking the Supreme Court and federal courts with anti-choice judges. But fortunately, that era is over, and thank God for that. So on this 100th day of the Biden-Harris administration, I'm proud to stand with you in support of the Feminist Declaration for a Just America. The Feminist Declaration is a manifesto to redirect America to a more just and equitable social order. And here in New York, women are no strangers to rallying together to create change. I love to brag to elected officials from other states that New York is the undisputed birthplace of the women's rights movement. The very first Women's Rights Convention took place in Seneca Falls way back in 1848. And when New York women secured the vote in 1917, we created unstoppable momentum toward the national victory of the suffrage movement, the 19th Amendment. But we didn't stop there. For through the decades, New York led the march for positive social change, for labor justice, gender justice, LGBTQI justice, racial justice, healthcare justice, environmental justice, and more. And the Feminist Declaration's call for progress and justice couldn't come at a more pivotal moment in our history. American women are currently facing a generational setback due to job losses they endured during the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. Decades of women's economic gains are at risk. But we won't let women fall behind. I envision a future where women recover from this pandemic and end up even stronger than ever. That's why New York is working to expand access to childcare, increase job training opportunities, and striving to create a more inclusive workforce for women. And thankfully, with President Biden and Vice President Harris in the White House, we are looking at a brighter future for women, not just in New York, but everywhere. As the Feminist Declaration notes, a vision for an enlightened and feminist society means ending racism and discrimination. We will also continue to stand in solidarity with people of color who are facing heightened violence and hate. As advocates for 21st century gender equality and justice, you are our modern day suffragists, the female freedom fighters of a new generation. New York women aren't just changing our state, we're changing our country and we're changing the world. The torch from generations of struggle for gender and racial equality is what we carry into the future. The moral obligation we have to make it glow even brighter before we pass it on to the next generation, it rests heavily on our shoulders. But I know we can do it, and I look forward to marching with you shoulder to shoulder once again. Thank you.